So imagine you're driving on a really long road trip. Or, maybe you're just sitting at your desk trying to power through this massive wall of emails.
Oh, I know that feeling all too well.
Right. And you've got your favorite streaming app running.
Yeah.
You're just letting the algorithm serve up tracks based on your listening history, doing its thing.
Just kind of passively taking it in.
Exactly. And suddenly, this incredible song comes on. I mean, the hook is completely infectious. The production is flawless. And the lead singer has this perfectly raspy, deeply emotive voice.
The kind of voice that just grabbed you.
Yes. So you loop it like a dozen times. And you start thinking, man, I need to see this band live. I need to buy the vinyl.
You're fully invested at this point.
Totally. So you pull out your phone, you look them up, and then you realize the lead singer, the drummer, the brilliant songwriter who penned those vulnerable lyrics, well, they literally do not exist.
Wow. Yeah, it is a genuinely startling realization.
It's crazy, right?
It really is. Finding out you've spent the last hour connecting so deeply with a completely synthesized entity, it's like a ghost in the machine.
A ghost in the machine is exactly it. And the crazy thing is that scenario is no longer some fringe science fiction concept.
No, not at all.
It is happening right now, every single day, to millions of listeners. So today we are doing a deep dive into a single source. It's an article detailing Spotify's brand new, currently in beta, rollout of a feature specifically designed to separate human artists from artificial intelligence.
Which is a massive undertaking.
Oh, for sure. So the mission for us today is to explore how the AI boom is, silently reshaping exactly what you listen to, and how platforms are desperately scrambling to categorize it all.
Yeah.
Plus, the wild, almost unbelievable economics of who actually gets paid when a computer drops a hit single.
Okay.
Let's unpack this.
Right. So it's a really vital mechanism to understand because we aren't just looking at, a new UI feature on an app.
Right.
We are looking at the broader implications for authenticity and really consumer trust in an era of unprecedented zero-cost media production.
Zero cost. That's the terrifying part.
Exactly. I mean, the barriers to creating high-fidelity, studio-quality audio have just entirely collapsed.
Anybody can do it now.
Anybody. And the result is this absolute flood of content that forces us to question the very nature of what we are consuming. And more importantly, how the platforms we pay every month are managing that flood.
Yeah, so to understand the solution Spotify is actually proposing here, we have to look at what they are building to address this volume of AI content.
Which is the badge system, right?
Exactly. They are rolling out something called the Verified by Spotify badge. It's slated to be available worldwide very soon. And the stated goal is to clarify what content is AI generated and what isn't, but their target metric is just wild.
It is super ambitious. The company is aiming to verify more than 99% of the artists that listeners actively search for on the platform.
99%.
Yeah.
I mean, the criteria for getting that little badge is fascinating to me, just because of the logistical hurdles involved.
Well, the logistics are a nightmare.
I bet. To prove you are a human, Spotify is basically demanding an identifiable artist presence both on and off the platform.
Right. They want to see a real footprint.
Yeah. They are asking for verifiable concert dates, physical merchandise footprints, and linked, active social media accounts.
And they have to audit all of that.
Right. They're utilizing this mix of automated systems and manual human reviewers to audit the data. It honestly feels a bit like walking into a supermarket where 90% of the food is completely synthetic.
Yeah.
So the store has to slap this earth-grown sticker on a normal apple just so you know it actually came from the dirt.
That is a great analogy.
It's wild that we're at a point where we need proof of physical t-shirt sales and venue ticket stubs just to confirm that a band has a pulse.
It really is. And the logistics of that verification process are staggering when you just consider the sheer volume of daily uploads.
Right. There are thousands of songs uploaded every day.
Tens of thousands. And it raises an immediate technical challenge. In 2026, it is trivial for an AI developer to auto-generate a fake Shopify merch store or spoof a social media presence.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Right. So Spotify's human reviewers are going to have to look for historical depth. They need to see an established footprint over time to weed out the really sophisticated fakes.
That sounds incredibly labor-intensive.
It is. But if we connect this to the bigger picture, we really have to scrutinize Spotify's public relations rationale for this move. In their press release, they explicitly stated their focus is on helping listeners build more meaningful connections with artists.
Meaningful connections, which kind of implies that human connection is the core product they are actually selling, right?
Exactly. What Spotify is essentially doing here is prioritizing market segmentation based on active fan interest.
Okay, what do you mean by that?
Well, by demanding to see concert dates and merch, they are acknowledging that the traditional bedrock of the music industry isn't just audio waves hitting an eardrum.
Right, it's not just the sound.
No, it's the thing that keeps premium subscribers paying $10 or $15 a month. It's the parasocial emotional relationship between fans and artists. It's that shared human experience.
So the badge is just a tool to preserve that premium human-to-human relationship.
Precisely.
Okay, but I'm getting stuck on a massive contradiction here, though.
What's that?
If Spotify is putting all these resources into verifying humans to foster quote-unquote meaningful connections, you'd think they're trying to purge the platform of AI.
You would think so, yes.
But looking at the user data from the article, that's not happening at all. AI music isn't being banned, like, at all.
No, not even a little bit.
It's entirely permitted, it's freely uploaded, and it is fully monetized through Spotify's partner program.
It is thriving.
Thriving is putting it lightly. I mean, listeners are noticing that the Spotify algorithm itself is aggressively serving AI music to them.
Yeah, the algorithm pushes it constantly.
There's this one example in the source. Take a quote-unquote band called Funkorama.
Oh, right, the funk band.
Yeah. They produce funk and soul music entirely via artificial intelligence, and they are pulling in nearly 54,000 monthly listeners.
Which is more than a lot of actual human indie bands.
Exactly. And then there's an even bigger AI artist, Aventus. Aventus boasts over 210,000 monthly listeners.
Wow.
And they have this viral song called Me Versus Me that recently crossed 10 million streams. 10 million.
That is a massive hit.
Right. So here's where it gets really interesting because I have to push back on the platform's PR motives here.
Let's hear it.
If Spotify is genuinely so concerned with authentic human connection, why is their own proprietary algorithm force-feeding us tracks from Aventus and Funkorama?
That is the million-dollar question.
Isn't this crackdown really just a clever categorization system? Like, they appease the human artists and the music purists by handing out shiny blue badges, but behind the scenes, they still get to profit off the infinite volume of AI content.
You've hit on the exact architectural friction of the modern streaming model. It's brilliant on their part, honestly.
Sneaky.
It is. But to understand why a platform would operate this way, we really have to pull back the curtain on algorithmic optimization. We have to look at the distinct difference between active listening and passive listening.
Okay, define the boundaries there.
Right.
How does the algorithm treat those two behaviors differently?
Well, active listening is the behavior Spotify is trying to protect with that 99% verification goal.
Okay.
That is when you deliberately type a specific artist's name into the search bar, or you navigate to a specific album. You are engaging with a specific artistic vision.
You're seeking out that human connection we talked about.
Exactly. You want the human connection. Passive listening, though, is entirely different.
Like when I just throw on a playlist?
Right. That occurs when you select a mood, like a focus beats playlist or workout mix, and you just let the algorithm take the wheel for 3 hours.
Oh, I do that all the time.
We all do. But in those passive environments, the listener isn't seeking a parasocial relationship. They are seeking utility. They just want a vibe.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, when I'm grinding through spreadsheets, I honestly don't care if the bass player has a pulse, just as long as the tempo keeps me focused.
Precisely. And the algorithm is designed to optimize for engagement and retention. In a passive listening state, AI becomes highly efficient, highly effective filler.
Filler, that's a great word for it.
Historically, the music industry has always had filler. Think of Muzak in elevators.
Oh, sure.
Or nameless session musicians recording generic jazz to be played in grocery stores.
Mm-hmm.
AI is simply the zero marginal cost version of that historical precedent.
Right, the algorithm doesn't care about the artist's backstory.
No, it just cares about the acoustic parameters that keep you from hitting the skip button.
Which brings us to the actual mechanics of the music business, because this is where it gets kind of dark.
The economics of it.
Yes. We understand that AI serves a utilitarian purpose in passive listening, but why would the traditional music ecosystem, like record labels, distributors, publishers, why would they embrace this?
Because it's incredibly lucrative.
Right. To answer that, we have to follow the money, and the financial data in the source is just staggering. Look at the projections for 2025. Spotify's total payout in revenue streams was an estimated $11 billion.
An $11 billion royalty pool. Just let that sink in.
It's massive.
Yeah.
Now, a Spotify spokesperson recently noted that AI-generated music and artists currently account for just 1% of all streams and royalties on the platform.
1% sounds so small.
It sounds negligible until you apply it to an $11 billion pool. That is $110 million being diverted directly to AI tracks right now.
Yeah. Let's drill down into how that diversion actually works, because this is where the economics become completely ruthless.
Okay, explain that.
Spotify uses what's called a pro rata royalty model.
Pro rata.
Right. This means that all the money generated from subscriptions and ads, it all goes into one giant pool.
Okay.
And at the end of the month, that pool is divided up based on the total number of streams across the entire platform.
Oh, wow. So it's a zero-sum game?
Entirely zero-sum. If an AI track generated by Aventus gets a stream, it takes a microscopic fraction of a cent out of that shared pool.
Right.
Which means that fraction of a cent is literally subtracted from the payout going to a human artist like Taylor Swift.
Mm-hmm.
Or an indie band struggling to pay for gas on tour.
Every single stream counts against everyone else.
Exactly. Every passive stream of AI filler dilutes the royalty value for active human creators.
Man. And the standard payout structure makes this even more lucrative for the people actually deploying the AI.
It's basically a money printer for them.
Because roughly 2/3 of the money from Spotify goes to the rights holders.
Right.
And in the traditional system, those rights holders, usually record labels or distributors, they take their cut and then pay out the remaining royalties to the actual humans, the singers, the songwriters, the producers.
But with AI.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because AI-generated music has no technical artist, there is no human being at the end of that chain demanding a royalty check.
No one to split the profits with.
Right. The rights holder gets to keep the revenue fully and independently. It's honestly like a massive corporate entity operating a billion-dollar ghost kitchen.
That is exactly what it is.
You're selling the food to the customer, but you never actually have to pay a human chef to cook it. You capture 100% of the margin.
It's pure profit.
So what does this all mean for the future of the industry?
Well, what's fascinating here is how this alters the long-term gravitational pull of music production.
Okay.
In traditional music, generating a hit involves studio time, mixing engineers, session musicians, marketing budgets.
It's excessive.
Super expensive. And ultimately, you are splitting the long-tail royalty revenue with the human creator for the rest of their life.
Right.
But with AI music, the upfront cost of production is virtually zero, and the long-term royalty split is entirely eliminated.
Because there's no human to pay.
Exactly. If you are a rights holder, like a corporate distributor or a label looking to maximize shareholder returns, the profit margins on a purely algorithmic track played on a passive listening playlist, they are vastly superior to the margins on a traditional human band.
Wow. So the incentive structure practically guarantees they will aggressively pump out more of this content just to capture passive listening market share.
The financial gravity pulling the industry toward AI filler is immense. You can't ignore those margins.
No, you really can't.
This is why Spotify's dual strategy makes perfect business sense. The Verified by Spotify badge protects the premium active listening product.
Right, it keeps the fans happy.
Exactly. It keeps subscribers paying for the human stars they love. But meanwhile, the back-end economics quietly encourage the proliferation of non-human filler.
Which optimizes retention.
Yes. It optimizes retention on passive playlists and pads the margins for the rights holders. It is a brilliant, albeit really cynical, market segmentation.
It is cynical, but it completely reframes how you view your own streaming habits.
It really does.
I mean, the next time you throw on a generic playlist to clean the house or study, think about where your monthly subscription fee is actually going.
You're paying the ghost kitchen.
Right. You might be voting with your ears for a rights holder who doesn't have to pay a band. You are an active participant in that $11 billion pro rata ecosystem.
Whether you realize it or not.
Exactly. Every time you let an algorithm run and it lands on Funkorama or Aventis, a fraction of a cent leaves the pool for human artists and validates that whole ghost kitchen economic model.
It is a profound shift in cultural consumption. We are moving from a model where music was inherently a human-to-human communication to a model where a significant portion of music is simply acoustic data engineered for environmental utility.
Engineered acoustic data, that sounds so dystopian. But the wild thing is, Sometimes that engineered acoustic data actually works on an emotional level.
It does. It really does. And that leaves us with something deeply complex to consider.
What's that?
Well, we talked earlier about Spotify's stated desire to protect meaningful connections. And we talked about Avanthis achieving 10 million streams on their Hit Me versus Me.
Right.
10 million. 10 million streams is a massive amount of human attention. It represents people playing that song in their cars, adding it to their breakup playlists, or letting it score a specific moment in their lives.
People genuinely felt something while listening to it.
Exactly, which raises an uncomfortable philosophical question for music purists.
I'm listening.
If an AI generates a song that perfectly captures exactly how you feel in a given moment, and you genuinely connect with it, if you cry to it, if you make it the defining soundtrack to your entire year,
Yeah.
and you later find out a human being never actually touched it, does that lack of a human creator invalidate the very real human emotion that you felt while listening?